Good morning. It's now just a smidgen after 10 AM on day 3. So we're on Wednesday the 21st of May now. I spent the night at my parents sorting some bad blisters out, which, pictures of which you can see on screen now. So they were, and they are, pretty sore, but after taking shares out in Compede and zinc oxide tape and elasto bandage, I'm on my way. My Salomon boots arrived at 20 to 9 this morning, and so we've been dropped off at where we finished yesterday. So we're at Greenhead, dropped off in the car park on the other side of that tarn over there, and this is the old quarry. So we've got this to negotiate, which is Walltown Crags. Then we've got Corfields and Steel Rig, where we should have finished yesterday. So we've got a bit of a trek to get to there, and ultimately a bit of a trek today. So we're staying in a, well, what they brand as a wigwam, what I call a micro lodge. So I'm feeling a lot better than I did. Well, my feet are feeling a lot better than they were yesterday, even this time yesterday. But still very, very tender. So I'm not going to be, I don't think I'm going to be going as fast as I'd like, and ultimately probably even adding an hour or two anyway onto the journey, even on top of the extra. Probably, what's this, 4 mile that we've got. So it's a bit of a beast of a day today, probably just short of 30 miles. So we'll soon see. The heel's just a little bit tender here, and it's really warm this morning. I was up at 7 and looked north across the valley from where my parents live, and sky was blue, really nice clear day, and so we're back on the wall. I think Dean's choosing the path of least resistance here. I think we can actually walk up right on the wall, but it doesn't matter. Gives my heels a chance to warm up. So we met up with a meat wagon. I said we met up with a meat wagon. Meat wagon's here. This is Corfields now. He's funny, isn't he? Hello. So we're just coming up a Corfield Crag there, and we're back right alongside the wall, as you can see. Really wide point here. You know, a lot of the stone has been stolen, but you know, the wall's narrow here, so like a metre wide, but back there it's nearly 2 metres wide. The original wall was wide enough to get a horse and cart down, so it just shows you, you know, how much stone has been taken away. And now we're making our way to Steel Rig. You can see across to the north there. Still all of this is still all Northumberland, isn't the England-Scotland border, kind of, as the further we go east, the further it goes north exponentially. So you know, the only really time you're in sight of Scotland is when you're on Bowness on Solway. But we're actually going to come to a lot of dangerous bits now. Here's an example. You know, the ground falls away there a good 30 metres down, and we're going to see a lot more of that, and actually a lot more dangerous bits when we get onto Steel Rig. A steel rig is used for your climbing and abseiling, and I did a lot when I was in the Scouts and the Army Cadets. We used to come up here quite a lot, especially with the Scouts. I used to go to Scouts in Hayden Bridge. No matter what time of the year, it was always cold. Morning. Are we still in morning? Yeah, just. Just. So a lot of uppy downy bits now. We kind of started off on a bit of an incline, but we've got about another 6 miles of it or so. But I don't really mind these steps so much, you know. I don't really mind them. It's easier on my heels. But I know that we're going to get to Steel Rig car park, and then we go down the grassy bit into the bottom, to the bottom of the crag. These steps are actually quite tall, quite high. And then it's that's a difficult bit. Well, it's just all about taking your time, I suppose. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Perfect day. Well, it's 12:15, and hopefully you can hear me over the wind. We're now at the trig point at Windshields Crags. As you can see, and to the best of my knowledge, this is the highest part of Hadrian's Wall. At what, 345? 345 metres. Looking down now. Oh yes, that's a good sight. Looking down onto our finishing point from yesterday. So the first water feature that you can see is Crag with the Steel Rig on its right. Hopefully you can see that. But that should have been our finishing point for yesterday, and it's, you know, we'll have done potentially 10 kilometers this morning, even before we start the day's walk. Down in the bottom, maybe you can't see it, a white fronted building. That's the Twice Brewed Inn. A lot of people stop there. It's a major staging post for the wall trek, and obviously we're not stopping. We've got another 20 odd miles to go, but as I've mentioned, along the prettiest section. So let's get a shift on. Right, so we've just had a quick 10 minutes at Steel Rig. There's the old man in the Range Rover. Steel Rig car park, and now we've got Steel Rig to negotiate, and Dean and I have agreed that we'll stop at Housesteads, which is about 3 miles that way, and cook up some food. So this is actually the start point of day 3, and we've just had to walk 10 kilometers to get here because of my flipping heels yesterday. And this section's probably about the same again as what we've done, really, insofar as the gradients up and down. I just think that they're a lot more steep. There's probably fewer, to be honest, Dean,
Yeah.
to be fair, but they're a lot more steep. But anyway, you see this path that we're on now, which is going to end in about 100 metres. This is brand new. I was here when they were just laying this path, and it took them a year to put it down properly. And it just ends just around here, and then people can walk down the grass. And that's probably because it just becomes, excuse me, far too marshy. And it's probably marshy even now, I don't know, but certainly last time I was here, you needed wading boots. But I suppose, you know, it's stopped so tourists can get off their 52-seater coach and come and stand here and set up the tripods and take some pictures of what is actually the most famous view on all of the wall, next to Sycamore Gap, which we'll see shortly, made famous by Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, when apparently Robin Hood and Azim come off the boat at Dover, and then suddenly they're on the Roman wall, which is what?
That's a long way to
600 miles away. Ridiculous. Okay, so speak to you soon. Somewhere along there. The Vindolanda, which is probably about 1.5 miles to our right, down in the bottom, which gave away the biggest clues about how the Romans lived when the Vindolanda tablets were found. But also the most well-kept artifacts were found at the site of Vindolanda, and it's owned privately by a family now. It's I suppose if you want to go in, it costs a lot of money, but it doesn't have anything on any of the other English Heritage National Trustee type places anywhere along the wall. Incidentally, you'll find more about the history of the Roman wall as far as visitor centres are concerned from here for the next, what, 15 miles. Sometimes of course you're going to have to peel off and go into towns and villages. Haltwhistle, Hexham, you could come off the A69 in the region of Corbridge and go to the visitor centre at the Roman fort at Costopatum, which is actually really interesting. But all these places cost quite, you know, a fair bit of money, you know, for what it is, you know, paying to see ruins. But at the same time, you know, they've done their best to keep and build on the history and record more. But certainly Vindolanda down there is the best site so far for the finds. About 15, maybe 20 years ago, they stopped people walking along the wall. I remember as a child, you know, we used to get up onto here, and me and my younger brother, we'd walk this. I do recall one such time when I was in the Scouts. We walked from Caulfields to Housesteads, and the majority of that we actually walked on the wall itself, and you were allowed. There were no restrictions back then. So you know, 23-ish years ago, something like that, 24 years ago. So one of the more prominent mile castles along the way is this one. It's Mile Castle 39. And then over the next one is Sycamore Gap. So in the early 90s there was this film, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Kevin Costner, Morgan Freeman, and it reinvigorated tourism on the wall because of that tree. So this is now the world famous Sycamore Gap. I remember coming along here as an 11-year-old boy and it was a tree in the bottom. It didn't matter, it could have been anything. And because of a film, it's the most famous part of the Roman wall. Looks quite nice that it's an early leaf, really, that sycamore tree. Right then, so we've come down into this bit here, and this is where people coming from the south would travel north on the Pennine Way, or travel from the north across and along Hadrian's Wall towards Greenhead and continue south on the Pennine Way. I'm sure Dean will get there one day, and he's nodding there, and when he does, he'll think back to this section of the Roman wall with fond memories, hopefully.
Certainly will. Certainly will.
So this is Mile Castle 37, and what's so prominent about it is, you see that gate there? Well, the Romans were so anal about being exact with where they put their mile castles and gates that they put the gate leading right out onto a cliff, so nothing was going to pass through it, and just to think it was manned as well. So now we're just coming on to Housesteads, Roman fort, one of the most famous on the wall actually. Going to walk through this wood and stop for something to eat. So now we're walking on the wall. This is the only bit for about 400-500 metres. Okay, so we've got Housesteads fort here now. You can see that. Because the thing is, I can't see over that wall. I don't think. The point that we're at now is Nagburn Gateway. This is the gateway behind me. So we've come down, Housesteads is up there, and we've come down where Dean's, you can probably just see Dean's rucksack there. There's a little burn, which is fairly fast flowing really. Soy squeeze filter is really, really good. But what you basically do is fill up a pouch of water which screws onto the filter, and you squeeze the bag, forcing the water through the filter. Let's go and have a look.
This is the standard sized one, and basically what you do is unscrew that, fill the water up, unscrew that end there, attach them, and you can either drink out through this bite valve here, or the name squeeze, basically you squeeze the liquid through. You can also fit these in line as well, like on your in line there on your
bladder,
platypus or bladder tube. But they're excellent bits of kit, they really are. Going to come in very handy today.
here we are, Brook Alicia. Ten to 6 now. Beautiful afternoon, really is. But we just felt the need to park our bums right over there.
Flatten a bit of grass for a while.
So we had a 20-minute sit down. Morale's gone up quite considerably. Done a quick map appreciation, and although Dean is very aware that my 6 kilometre measuring method is utter bollocks, long story, I do reckon we've got 10 to 11 miles to go yet. We are just above the hamlet of Wallock, which is basically just above Chesters. Beneath Chesters, Roman Fort, is Cholerford, and Humshoff is on the back of Cholerford. So what we just done, had a little low group, and we're going to have something to eat down there. Yes, it's going to be a late one, but at least we're going to have some proper food now, and keep our rations, and if needs be, eat again when we get to our accommodation, which is down at Hollow Hill. The route is very simple indeed. We've got a bit of a faff about just after Cholerford, where we can't, basically this road, you know, behind this hedgerow here, when you get across the bridge at Cholerford and get on the other side, you're met with a crossroads, and you go right to Hexham. You can actually go straight on to Newcastle, but I think Newcastle's also signposted left, I think, don't quote me. But anyway, basically what you would normally do is just carry on straight on, and that actually follows the route of the Roman wall. But what we've got to do, according to the official national path, is we've got to cut right towards Hexham, and then we meet up with the village of Wall, where actually I've got some very good friends.
Yeah.
Yep. Left and go up a little side road, which basically cuts out the dangerous bit in this main road here, which goes straight on after Cholerford. We aren't actually going to see much of the wall from now on, really, which is a bit sad.
So after being forcibly embarrassed to walk through the middle of the restaurant in front of about 50 old people, because we asked to come outside and not sit inside, we finally got our scran, and here it is. So my mouth's watering so much. We've still got 10 miles to go after this, so we're actually probably going to get in about midnight tonight, although that does sound insane. We don't really want to have to cut it short to add that distance on tomorrow, because I do actually want 2 short days tomorrow, tomorrow and Friday. So from the lamb, from the steak,
Rare.
and from the George Hotel at Cholerford. See you.
So it's now just after 9:15 at night, and we're leaving the George Hotel behind us here in Cholerford. We're going to cross the bridge here, across the Tyne. It's a beautiful night. We've had a good feed, as you've seen. Look at that. We've just come up from Cholerford, and this section of wall is plane trees. It says there it's significant because the narrow piece of the wall joins a wider piece of the wall, which you can see not really from this angle, But potentially we're not going to see any wall after this. Well, hello. So we're at the top of Brunton Bank now, thank God. That house there that you can see, the white one there, that was built brick by a good friend of mine I was at school with. And what you can't see now, but basically beyond in the building in those trees there, is my godmother's old place. See the church behind me there? I don't think it's locked, but don't quote me on that. And it's a quaint little church. I still run services out of there. And you see the big wooden cross there